Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. This is Papa Jamanapa. As you guys know, I'm an author, I'm a writer, and I'm a singer. I have music, and I'm working on my album that I'm about to release called Heartbeat, 189 songs and counting. It's gonna be released. It's gonna be fully discharged out there in the world very soon. Very soon. I'm just working on the production at the moment. So today is a video about I'm a writer, I'm a creator. I create things that are of value to humanity, to us, the citizenry of the Republic of Planet Earth. And this video is very important because this video is essentially about a word that is, I think, the most important word in the 21st century. In fact, it could be the defining word in human history, moving forward, forever and ever, into infinity as we move forward into, the 22nd century and the 23rd century and the 24th century and the 25th century and etc. and so on. All these beautiful, because we're infinite, we're all free. This is the thing. If you're a human and you have a human heartbeat, you're infinite and you're free. And you're a citizen of the Republic of Planet Earth. Everyone on Earth, absolutely everyone. Those around me right now, they're all citizens of the Republic of Planet Earth. And not only them, all humans on Earth and outside Earth's orbit. Because we're the Republic of Planet Earth, this is who we are. And this is an important word. This word, it's called antipodate. It's a verb, it's a base verb. So, but it has many verbs. It has a meta. It's the first word. This word is the most important word in history of the language, of the English language. Why? Because this word is the only word in the English language that has a full versatility. It's fully versatile, meaning the word itself has two verbs. It has a base verb, which is antipodate, and it has a meta verb. So no other word in this language, this very primitive language, has a meta verb. So what is the meaning of these? Well, the meaning of this is that we are evolving the language. And how do we evolve the language, this primitive language? Well, the way we evolve a primitive language is with with words that have meta verbs. What is a meta verb? Well, a meta verb is a verb that essentially antipodises. And what is to antipodize? Well, to antipodize is this word that has allowed the English language to stop being primitive and become a language of the Republic of Planet Earth. So because in this way, as a result of this word, now this language stops being obsolete, stops being irrelevant, and it becomes a relevant language, right? It becomes a 21st century language, one of the official languages of the Republic of Planet Earth. Because if you understand this language, when it was first created, it was created by people who wielded swords, right? So you gotta understand these. So these people wielded swords. What is the meaning of this? Well, they were very primitive because swords are obsolete, aren't they? We all know these. No one is walking around with swords. This idea of knights, this idea is an obsolete idea. It's a primitive idea. No one is walking around with swords, define people into duels, are they? These are all obsolete concepts. If you understand natural law, you understand that duels are illegal because it's a primitive behavior, right? So we understand this. So these were the people who created this language, right? These are our ancestors. But they created an incredible foundation, a base, for us now to take the language into the 21st century. So what is the meaning of this? Well, the meaning of this is that English, can actually become an extremely important part of the future of the Republic of Planet Earth. Why? Because it has provided a strong foundation. It has provided a strong foundation. If you watch my videos, you understand that the future is Spanglish. The future, not only of the Republic of Planet Earth as the lingua franca, but the future is Spanglish. That is the future, because it's a fusion of these two primitive languages, English and Spanish. They come together as one and they fuse and they evolve into a highly sophisticated and highly advanced language. And this language is Spanglish, Ingleñol, en español. So what is the meaning of this? Is the parents, the mother, the father, because they all have this dual nature, this polarity charge to each of them. They all have this infinite virtuous cycle that allow these primitive notions to become modern, meaning to become the foundation, the lingua franca of the word that allows the world to essentially, be modern. Because we are the Republic of Planet Earth when we're infinite. So this is the thing. But being obsolete and being primitive, it doesn't make you outdated. It makes you legacy. It makes you heritage. And as you understand, heritage and legacy are extremely important concepts of the Republic of Planet Earth. Why? Because the future essentially is built upon those foundations, the legacy and the heritage of those who came before us and gave us the tools that allow us to become who we are today, right? So as you can understand, so why is it that English is a primitive language? Well, it is a primitive language because it doesn't have the ability to have metaverbs. The language hasn't evolved. It doesn't have the structure within it to contain metaverbs. What's a metaverb? Well, a metaverb is a verb that is a verb of a verb, meaning is the verb that verbs the verb. So what is the meaning of this? Well, it allows the verb itself to evolve into infinity as a foundation. Because the verb, as you understand the language, is the foundation, is the action, is what you do. And the action defines us, right? And it's a fundamental primary element of us as compasses, right? As sundials. So if we understand this idea, then we understand that by creating the first word, right? By creating the first word that contains within itself, one word has two verbs. So this is unique. No other English word has these. That's why the language has evolved into these. Why? Because this is the first word in the entirety of the history of this language that has given us so much heritage, so much legacy that allow us to be here today. For all of us humans with a heartbeat to be citizens of the Republic of Planet Earth, us the epicenter of everything, the central city, the capital, the garden, who we are. So, and this is all of us. So you see, so because of this idea, now you understand that the language, because it has been reshaped, you see, it doesn't even have this word shapen, which is extremely important to have, but it doesn't have it because of the structural limitations of it. So it's used shaped and shape. But why not shapen? You see, it's because it doesn't have foundational structures that allow for metaverbs to form. And when you have a metaverb, that allows you to be more flexible with the language rather than having inconsistencies and what is known as exceptions. And that's why English is full with exceptions, because it is primitive. But now it's not, because this word has essentially made the language modern again. It has essentially rejuvenated the language. It has made it a 21st century language, because it's the fusion of this language and Spanish together, creating Spanglish, Ingleñol. And by creating this language, these two strongest languages come as one and create a new way. And this new way allows for antipodization, which is the foundation of this word that I'm about to describe. Because now, by doing these, now words themselves, any word in the language can evolve. And by evolving, meaning it would have a meta verb of its own. If the word is strong enough to sustain itself at the meta level of thinking, proto-meta systems thinking. So, what is the meaning of this? Well, the meaning of this is that the language would be rejuvenated. So, what is the meaning of this? Well, the meaning of this is that new words would come up and would make the language anew, meaning it would make it young again, it would make it fresh, and it would stop being obsolete and primitive because of the meta verbs. The words that are the verb that essentially allows the primitive words to evolve into real modern words that will be useful moving forward for everybody. Because as I said, being obsolete and primitive doesn't make you useless. It just is a foundation, it's heritage and legacy. That's what it is. That's what it is. So let's talk about it. So meta verbs and how important they are. So the word that we're talking is antipodate. So where does this word come from, and why is this the most important word in human history for the English language? Because this word is also in Spanish, but it's just spelled differently, and the structure is different because the structure of Spanish is different. But that doesn't change the fact that it allows the flexibility for a new form of communication to emerge, which is meta verbs. So let's talk about it. Antipodate. So where does this come from? Well, it comes from this idea of antipodes. So what's antipodes? Well, the antipodes is opposites. It's opposites. You gotta think in terms of polarity, because everything from now on is energy. It's all about energy charge. And energy discharges, meaning when it discharges, it releases energy. And because we're infinite in nature, it's infinite energy that cannot be contained. It's infinite energy of creation. Just like the human heartbeat is the same. So that's what the antipode is this charge, right? It's this polarity. It's the opposites. It's duality. So that's antipodes, right? It's a word that is common and is used, and it's out there. But it's just a word that describes these natural phenomena, this observable objective reality, where you have polarities, where you have opposites, but opposites that have a charge, so positive and negative. So it's the charge of that. And what's that? Well, that's the polarity of the sphere. Infinite energy, infinite creation. Spherical energy, the creator. And we are the image of the creator. So if we understand these notions and these ideas, then you can see how this primitive form of language, right? This primitive form of language evolves, because within it contains the seed that allows it to develop and evolve into a modern and sophisticated and robust 21st century and onwards language, that it won't be a lingua franca per se, because the new lingua franca will be Spanglish. The new lingua franca of the 21st century and moving forward will be Spanglish, which is English and Spanish together as one, because of the conditions of both languages and the natures of these two languages that both are obsolete and primitive, but they both came together as one to create this new version, this new idea. And this idea starts with the most important word that allowed the process to start. The singularity is a word that allows the new reality to emerge. It comes from this concept that exists in both languages, and it's antipodes, which is polarity, opposites. And opposites attract and create infinite energy, and it gets released. And this discharge is what creates the conditions for infinity, for the singularity, for infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. So now that you understand what the word where the etymology of the word, where it comes from, antipodes. So now by understanding these, we can start where you should start with words, which is the definition. So let's start with the base verb, which is the foundational verb that leads to meta verbs, which is the big evolution thanks to the singularity of the language. Because the language has been born, and it's the singularity of Spanish and English coming into this infinite virtual cycle and creating this new language, which is Spanglish. It's a combination of these two super strong languages, the strongest of them all. So let's define it. So antipodate, base verb, to transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now. The positive metamorphoses of everything that there is and will always be. So you see, it is an extremely important word. And it was these primitive notions, right, that allow it to become relevant, to be born, because it came from the seeds of everything that came before, our heritage and legacy of the Republic of Planet Earth, of all of us. So you see, this is extremely powerful because I'm going to read it one more time. To transform negativity into positivity. So you see antipodes. That is the charge from negativity to positivity. That's to transform. And that's a good, it's called evolution. Evolution is that. It's moving from negative to positive. This is what, in energy terms, that's what evolution means. And evolution is good. Evolution is good. It's important because it means evolution. It means to transform, to become anew, to become better. Just like the language has been reborn again and it stopped being obsolete and primitive, now it becomes a 21st century language because it's Spanglish now. It's a combination of two languages. These two polarities come together as one. The antipodes of them, they antipodated, they antipodize, which is part of the word, the verbs. And by having this word that we didn't have before, now we can evolve the language. And as a result, we can antipodate. We can antipodate all words of the language, all meanings, all definitions, all concepts. And by doing that, and there is a lot of words in both languages, Spanish and English. So by antipodating and antipodizing each of those words, then the words themselves can evolve from negativity to positivity. The charge of them, because remember, your thoughts are based on what you think, and you think in terms of language, and language is built with words. So when you evolve the language, meaning you have a word that itself, the meaning of it is a super positivity charge, meaning it supercharges everything. Everything gets discharged and released, all the negativity gets discharged. And by getting all the negativity discharged, because you're transforming it into positivity, everything evolves. About the meaning of the word and the concepts and the actions behind it and the feelings and the sentiments and the emotions behind those words, which is because emotions are feelings, they're energy. They come from the heart, and the heart is pure energy because of the electromagnetic field, because of the human heartbeat, the pulse of life, the pulse of creation, because we are the creators ourselves, we're pure energy. This is who we are. So that means that when we antipodize, which is the meta verb of antipodate, when we antipodate, we can antipodize, and when we can which is a full transformation of it, is the antipodization of antipodate, which is to antipodize, antipodate, to antipodize antipodization, which means the end state, the result of transforming negativity into positivity. Right? And I'm going to go through each of these verbs. And this is a PDF that you can download from the website, y.how/antipodes. And the information is there in both languages, Spanish and English, because these two languages are the foundation, the heritage and legacy for the lingua franca of the Republic of Planet Earth moving forward, because you'll see how everything will evolve into these, because this is just the way it is. So what is the meaning of this? Well, by antipodating, you can antipodize. And by antipodizing, then you can create metaverbs, which is this evolution of the language. Now you can have metaverbs, and these metaverbs are the new versions of each word that is fully antipodated and antipodized. Is a positivity charge of each of the primitive words, of the obsolete words that are essentially unconscious words. Think about it in that way. They're primitive because they don't understand themselves. They don't understand that the word itself can be antipodated. And by this antipodization, you create a metaverb, which is a verb that sustains the base verb. Essentially, it's the evolution. It's the next step of the base verb is like a seed that grows into the metaverb. And the metaverb is the one that uses the energy, the positivity, to metamorphosize everything, to transform everything that is negative into positivity. So this is extremely powerful, because it's time for us to understand our nature, objective reality, which is that we're all infinite energy, infinite creation. This is who we are. If you're alive, you're infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation. This is who you are. So by having the first word that uses the antipodes as the etymology to antipodate and antipodize, that means that by doing so, then you move away from base verbs that are essential because it was the foundation that created things, into this new state of evolution, which is metaverbs, which is the verb that actually, does the work after the transformation emerges. It's a transforming agent. It makes sure that all that is negative ceases to exist. Why? Because of positivity, because of antipodization, because of antipodating, because of what that is, which is antipodate, to transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now. The positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. So you take all these states and you evolve them into a meta state, metaverbs. Each word, because the beauty of antipodization is that you can take any word, any concept, any idea, and antipodate it. And by antipodizing it, what are you doing? Well, you're creating a metaverb, which is the evolution of the base verb that allows that word to exist in the first place. Because actions are all there is. So, and what that means is that now all the nouns in the English language that don't have a verb, they can be verbalized, meaning they can have a base verb and a metaverb attached to it, to an etymology that allows that noun to stop being static, meaning doesn't have the ability to take action, because a noun cannot take action because it doesn't have a verb. If it doesn't have a verb, it needs a verb, which is the action. That's why it's taken here and now. It's purposeful daily action, which is free will. It's infinite free will, who we are as compasses and sundials. That's why action is the fourth primary element of compass, which is the electromagnetic field, the spherical energy that we are, light spherical beings. So by that, you can take any noun and any word in the language that doesn't have a base verb and create a base verb as a result, which is antipodating it. And by antipodating it, now you can antipodize it, which is developing an actual metaverb behind that noun, behind that word that doesn't have a strong foundation, meaning it doesn't have a verb. It doesn't have a base verb that allows it as a seed to grow and metamorphosize from negativity into positivity, which means the word itself now is an active creator, is a positivity charge, meaning it antipodizes everything. So it discharges all the negativity. And that energy release, what does it do? Well, that energy release creates the conditions for infinite creation, which is the positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. So all these nouns that don't have a verb, now they can have a base verb, because we can antipodize each and one of those words. And by antipodizing each and one of those words, now we have a base verb. And by having a base verb that gives us the ability, to transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now. Because remember, thoughts are based on what? On your consciousness. And there is a language, which are words. And these words must be action-based. So you need to have a base verb. And that base verb that emerges from this noun as a result, which is the evolution, the seed, allows itself to evolve further, which is a full transformation of positivity. Once you move away, because the noun is kind of like the negative energy that gets discharged, and then the result creates a base verb if it doesn't have one. And by creating that base verb, then now itself can be antipodized because it has a verb to be taken action with. And by taking that action, then it further evolves itself into infinite energy, infinite creation, and positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. And by doing that, then a metaverb emerges as a result. So everything that word means can actually be antipodizable, right? So everything is positive about it. So all your thoughts or your feelings and your emotions are positive. Meaning when you verbalize, when you take action, what is the meaning of that? Well, all the negativity gets dissipated. It gets discharged. Why? Because of the nature of the evolution of the language, which is Spanglish. And also the foundations of English itself that allows, is the seed, right? That got antipodized. That essentially it led to the new lingua franca of the Republic of Planet Earth, which is a combination of these two extremely powerful primitive languages that now have evolved into modern languages that are no longer primitive, because of this word, because of this concept, antipodate, antipodization, to antipodate, antipodization, all these notions that emerge as a result of creating the most important thing in a language, which is a metaverb, which is what allows it to antipodate in the first place. Think of antipodization as the singularity of that universe, of that word, and the meanings of it, and the concepts and definitions, which is what I just read. So what's the definition of antipodate? To transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now, the positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. So let's start with the verbs. So verbs, antipodate, which is the base verb that comes from the etymology of the word antipodes, which I already told what that is. So it allows for that transformation, right? So, and then it has the version of antipodated, right? Antipodated, right? And then the continuous version of antipodating. So those are the two states of it because it's the base. Those are the two states. It's the base, okay? And because of the power of the word, you can have it in all states, okay? So that's the base verb. So it will be like, I antipodate, you antipodate, he, she, them antipodates, etc. and so on. We antipodate, they antipodate. So what's antipodate? Well, when you antipodate, it means you transform negativity into positivity immediately. Whenever you are antipodating, you are transforming negativity into positivity, which is an evolution, remarkable evolution of the language. So it came from that notion, right? From the seed of it, from the etymology, the root, the genesis of it, right? Okay, so now, so what's the metaverb? What's the metaverb? The metaverb is antipodize, which is the antipodization of antipodating. Is antipodating about antipodating. To antipodize is to antipodate about antipodating. Okay, to antipodize is very powerful. It's extremely powerful because it's an evolved state. Antipodate itself is the base that allowed the language to evolve. But because of that evolution, because you antipodating, now you can transform all negativity into positivity. And when you start to do that, and then everything around you, because you're infinite energy, because you yourself are a singularity that is an infinite force field, an electromagnetic field, that everything that comes within your proximity gets antipodated. Everything that is negative, that it gets attracted because you're infinite energy, infinite positivity, infinite love, infinite creation. Everything that comes to you as the opposite comes to you as a magnet. Why? To get magnetized. I mean, when it gets magnetized, you antipodate it, meaning because of your thoughts, your actions, your free will, your purposeful daily action taken here and now, and your infinite consciousness and self-awareness of you being infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation, take all that and makes it positive. It transforms it, it evolves it. So all that gets antipodated. And by antipodating everything, now you can antipodize. Why? Because the negativity is positivity now, which it's been antipodated. So what do you do with once something is antipodated? Well, you start to antipodize, which is the new state of that energy that is negative, that is now positive, that was negative, that is now positive. You can antipodize with that. So you antipodize. So you use that energy positively. All that negativity that came around you, that orbited you, that was attracted by your infinite energy as a attracting force of creation and everything that there is, you start to antipodize everything because the negativity becomes positivity. And by becoming positive, now you use that positivity with your words, with your actions, with everything that you do. And you can antipodize everything. You antipodize all the nouns, so you have new base verbs and new meta verbs for each of those words that don't have an action state, an active state, an end state that is action-based, right? So it can be a compass, it can be infinite, it can be actually modern and sophisticated and evolved and infinite. And then all the words that do have verbs, those base verbs can be antipodized. And by being antipodized, then they themselves evolve into having metaverse of their own formations. Meaning the words, the nouns, the root, the etymology of it allows a word to have this dual nature of infinity, which is the first foundation to be antipodated, so then it can start to antipodize. So you have new versions, new states of those verbs. So the language evolves, sophisticated, extremely quickly. Okay? Extremely quickly. So you see, it's the most powerful word in the history of languages because it's the foundation that allows for everything to happen. Because remember, thoughts and emotions and feelings, they are loaded with charge. And if you're primitive, that there could be a lot of negativity in those words, which are the thoughts that you have, right? And by releasing those, and they're negative, when you antipodate it, you attract that negativity and you make it positive because you're infinite electromagnetic field around you that allows you to antipodate everything, all the actions and all the negativity that happens around you. So when you attract all that, then you evolve it not only by your actions, becoming an example, a leader, a defender of the Republic of Planet Earth, but also by evolving the knowledge of it, evolving it. So the word loses it's like a fantasy and illusion, an object that is packed with negativity. So what you do, you antipodize it. And when you antipodize it, then that negativity gets discharged, so the word itself evolves. It gets antipodated, and then it can be antipodized. And by being antipodized, then it can have metaverbs that allows it to be positive, and only positive, which is the energy of creation of infinity, love. So that's it. So the past tense is antipodized. Then antipodizing is the continuous state, the continuous tense, right? I will be antipodizing. I will antipodize is the future state, but it doesn't have to be used because English allows it for the future state to use a base verb and a meta verb. So antipodize. So, and then you will be I antipodize. You antipodize. He, she, them antipodizes. We antipodize. They antipodize. So this is extremely evolved, right? Extremely sophisticated. So it's the most advanced word. So then nouns. Foundational, right? So what are the nouns? Well, antipodation. Antipodation and antipodation. So you can say, well, those are the antipodations of these times. Meaning all the actions, all the states that take place to get that negativity into positivity, to evolve all these lesser words, to have those base verbs have meta verbs and move the negativity and the context and the loaded discharges so it can be positive, right? It can have a positive outcome for everybody because we don't want negativity. We have a lot of negativities because of all these primitive ideas. But by changing them, meaning by antipodizing them, then they get fully discharged. And by getting discharged, all these fantasies and illusions start to be actually meaningful, purposeful. That's why purposeful daily action, taken here and now. So everything is positive and everything is creation. Okay, so that's the base, right, of the base verb, antipodation. The antipodations, right? That's an example that I gave you there as a phrase. Then the next noun is antipodization, which is antipodizing about antipodating, right? Antipodating about the antipodating of the antipodating. The antipodization of antipodization, right? All these notions. So you can say something like antipodization is fundamental for the creation of infinite spherical devices to power areas where there is no electricity, right? Antipodization ends poverty. Antipodization eradicates famine. Antipodization is the future, is the present, is the here and now. You see? So it's this idea. So you have obviously the plural version, which is antipodizations as well, just like antipodation. So now another key noun is antipodator. So who is an antipodator, or what's an antipodator, or antipodators? Well, those are the active the active objects, the active humans, or tools, right? Or agents that are the ones that antipodate, right? Or the ones that antipodize, right? But mainly antipodate, an antipodator. Someone who takes negativity into positivity, that makes that transformation, right? With their thoughts, with their actions, with their feelings, with their emotions. So it's positive, it's love. You're loading things with love, so you discharge the negativity. So you're antipodating things, so that's why you're an antipodator. So you can say ideas that are empowering and antipodating as a state, or or like you can say he is an antipodator, or she is an antipodator, or the antipodator transformed that community into a thriving environment. Or the antipodators of now are the leaders and defenders of the Republic of planet Earth. Or antipodators are the most important creators. Those are examples of nouns. Now, another noun is antipodist. So who's an antipodist? Well, an antipodist, right, or something that is not necessarily human, an agent, it antipodises, meaning is the meta verb of it. So an antipodist. So an antipodist is someone that is not only an antipodator, but is also an antipodist, right? Which means has the ability to antipodize antipodations and everything that there is and exists. Because as I said, antipodate is the positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be, which is everything, right? So by being that and being an antipodist, then what are you doing? Well, you are transforming everything into positivity as an active agent that essentially is changing everything, making everything worthwhile, right? Fully positive, thriving communities and everything. So you see, these are the nouns, very powerful. Now, adjectives. There's a lot of adjectives because adjectives are extremely as an important part of speech, of the language. So what is the meaning of that? Adjectives are used and they're very versatile. They're very flexible words. They're practical. Adjectives are very practical. One of the reasons why English has allowed to become the foundation for the future is that essentially has the ability to be practical, and adjectives are one of the reasons why it's so practical. So antipodated. So antipodated notions, for example. That means notions, ideas that have been antipodated, that have been transformed into positivity, that have metamorphosized already into positivity. Positive metamorphoses. So antipodated notions, antipodated ideas, antipodated actions, antipodated histories, meaning histories that have been antipodated, like human history, right? Antipodated history. That's here and now, what's happening. So now antipodized is the higher state, is the meta verb, meaning antipodized concepts or anything. That could be a way to use it. Or antipodized individuals, meaning humans who are fully transformed and they're active citizens of the Republic of planet Earth who are making everything positive. Antipodized. Or antipodized tools, meaning tools that not only have the ability themselves to antipodize, but they used to be negative that now are positive, right? So it's powerful. Now, that have been transformed essentially by antipodization. Antipodized, to be transformed by it, right? Or antipodated, to be transformed by being antipodated, right? So now antipodistic. What is the notion of this adjective? Well, something that has the characteristics of antipodization, meaning something that is antipodistic is something that reflects the characteristics and the nature and the definitions of antipodization itself. Antipodistic tools. So for an antipodistic tool is, for example, a good book that allows to antipodize and transform everything into positivity. Everything that touches it becomes positive as a result. So you can say antipodistic humans or antipodistic technologies. So those are tools that are antipodistic, meaning they themselves have the characteristics, innate ability to themselves antipodize. So it's a very powerful adjective. When something is antipodistic, it's extremely powerful because it contains the characteristics of antipodization itself. So it is the example, is the image of it. So now, antipodable, something that is antipodable. Well, it's something that can be antipodated, essentially. Antipodable games, for example. So it's a game that is played to be antipodated. Or antipodable ideas. So these are ideas that essentially can be antipodated. So, and everything can be antipodatable, you see, because you can antipodate everything because of the definition. The positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. And because we're talking about language, it's about the foundation and the words that create everything, right? So by doing thoughts, emotions, and feelings and all that. So by something being antipodatable, it means that it has within the ability to transform everything or to be transformed into positivity, which is extremely important. So now, antipodizable. Right? Very powerful because it's something that is not only has been antipodated already, that is antipodable, but now it can be it's antipodizable now, which is even more powerful because it's the meta verb. Meaning, this adjective comes from the meta verb, which means that something that is antipodizable is that now it can antipodate the antipodizations. Antipodizable concepts or antipodizable conversations. These are conversations that when you have them, fully antipodize whatever topic, whatever situation, whatever outcome. So, or antipodizable outcomes, meaning if antipodizable results, the outcomes, antipodizable end states. All these states, all these outcomes, all these resolutions, all these results that are fully antipodized, that are fully antipodizable, that they themselves can be fully transformed into the highest state of transformation and love of metamorphosis. So antipodizable is an extremely useful adjective. So now, antipodating. So antipodating is also that continuous state of an adjective, which is powerful because it's the active state of it. Antipodating is the state of to antipodate, right? To transform. So antipodating, say antipodating toys. So you can have a toy that is antipodating. So by using the toy, whoever engages in play with the toy is not only antipodating whatever they're doing with the toy, but themselves by antipodating. So antipodating tools, antipodating mechanisms, antipodating verbs, antipodating languages, antipodating definitions, antipodating ideas. You see, it's not only a verb that is the adjective of it. So it's an active state of this base verb of transformation. And now the higher state of it is antipodizing. So as you see, it's the same, but the higher state. So say, for example, in the same idea of toys, so an antipodizing toy. An antipodizing toy, for example, this toy, so I can explain what the Republic of Planet Earth is in a visual manner that everyone sees. And our central island, the epicenter of planet Earth, the real equator, where we all come from when we created this planet, our origin. So this toy, so I can show you, this is an antipodizing toy because everyone that sees this and watches this gets fully transformed into infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation, and self-awareness to understand and get reawakened. Meaning they remember who they are and what we've done as a species to be able to become antipodists ourselves, right? Capable of antipodizing. So we can have antipodizing toys or antipodizing videos like this one. Okay, so this other idea is antipodist. So, which is describing that, right? Is that adjective that describes that whole process. So an antipodist toy, for example, this toy is an antipodist toy, or a song that is an antipodist song, or a video that is that video is very antipodist. You see, it fully describes the whole notion of it. Oh, so that's an antipodist video. You see, it's describing the fact that video transforms everything into positivity. Beyond it, because it's not only it's not only antipodating, but it's antipodist, meaning antipodist ideas, antipodist toys, meaning is like it's beyond the transformation. Is that whatever has been transformed, the transforming agent that has been transformed or has transformed something, that new transformation, that new state is what you start to use to further add the positivity that comes as a result of that metamorphosis that took place, that evolution. So you see, those are the adjectives. There is a lot of adjectives, which makes this word extremely powerful because it's a complete word. Okay, it's a spherical word because it's spherical in nature, because its energy is charged. Okay, so now the adverbs. Adverbs are very important in the language, okay, and they're very versatile and flexible. You can use them in many. The structure of the language allows it to have it in different moments, different locations, different contexts, different states, different times, and its adverbs are very important. So there's three main adverbs, and I'm sure that this word in the future, as we start to antipodize, we will be able to create new versions of adverbs and nouns and all these different things and even verbs for this notion of antipodization. Okay, so adverbs. So let's talk about the adverbs. So antipodistically, you see, antipodistically, this is powerful because it is the state that has so for example, antipodistically done, meaning something that has been done in an antipodistic way, right? Meaning it describes antipodization and the process of the active state taken here and now with purposeful daily action because of our free will to transform everything into further positivity as a result of something that has already been metamorphosized into positivity. So this is, and shows the process of how that process happened. This is extremely important and practical. So then antipodatingly, right, which is the base verb antipodating, to antipodate, and in a way in which it describes that process. And it essentially explains that what this means is that something has been antipodated. Okay, and there's the process, or how something can be done so. So antipodatingly is like that. Is that state that allows it, right, to be so. The whole process, the end-to-end state, the end-to-end journey of how that process happened or will happen or is happening. Yeah, so this is extremely powerful. So, yeah, so it's a very powerful adjective, antipodatingly. 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 Yeah, antipodatingly. So, you know, very powerful, very powerful. So now, the other state, which is even higher, is the metaverb state, which is antipodizingly. So you see, it's the other version of it. For example, you can say, let's have conversations antipodizingly. Yeah, meaning like effectively, right? Because it's the full journey of it. It's the adverb, which is an important part of speech. Now, let's talk about the articles. Articles. So articles are very basic. They are, part of speech, and they're singular and plural. So there's the singular version, which is the and an, right? So an antipodation, the antipodation. Now the plural is obviously the, so it will be the antipodation, the antipoditions, the antipodist, the antipodist, the antipodator, the antipodators, an antipodator, an antipodist, an antipodization, the antipodization, the antipodizations. You see that? So that's the article. So you see that's the word. So the word that we're talking about is to antipodate. Antipodization, antipodating, to antipodate, to antipodize, antipodation. You see, it's the most important word of the 21st century because it creates a foundation to change and restructure everything, reformat all the nouns, all the words that exist in the language, and the new words that will be created as a result of having metaverbs that are the fully transformed and antipodized notions. So this conversation is done antipodistically. So you see, that's an adverb there, because this whole conversation is so the transformation process of the language itself that has evolved, right, into what? Has evolved into what? Well, infinite energy, infinite love, infinite creation, who we are. So this is what the video is. So you can see my videos are about love, infinity, creation, because what I'm doing as a creator myself, as a writer, as an author, as an inventor, as a mathematician, as a musician, as an artist, as a songwriter, as a singer, what I do as a comedian, what I do every day is to create, to antipodize. So I live my days antipodizing everything. So everything that comes into my proximity, orbits me, it gets antipodized immediately. So if you come within my proximity, or anything that comes within my proximity because of my natural state of infinite awareness and infinite consciousness, because I know I'm one with everything, because I stare at the sun and I understand that I'm one with everything that there is, and I know that we're all that, it's not only me, but I'm conscious of who we are, I can be the messenger. So I can be the one that has created this word that is not a creation per se of mine, but I'm just describing a natural phenomena that has been, antipodizing has always been happening. There's always been antipodization. This is not something that is happening now. It has always happened. But now we can observe it. We are evolved enough to understand that this concept exists and these notions exist. But now we can verbalize it. We can take action. We can have verbs and nouns and adjectives and adverbs and pack them with articles, right? So we can actually use them in practical ways. So we can actually be conscious and self-aware of our infinite awareness of that ability to antipodize everything. So everything that gets in within my proximity, within my force field, within my electromagnetic field, within my sensory perception, gets immediately antipodized by engaging with me, meaning itself gets fully transformed into a state of higher state that in relation to the former state in which that object that comes within my proximity used to be. Because by engaging with me, it gets fully antipodated. Because I'm antipodistic in nature. I do things antipodistically. Okay? So my actions are that. They are antipodistic. So, antipodistically speaking, I am an antipodator. I'm an antipodist. Everything that comes within my proximity, my orbit, gets fully antipodized. So if you come within my proximity, you know you're ready for a full transformation that will change you forever. Because this is what I decided to be. Because of my consciousness and self-awareness. So you see, extremely powerful. And this is why my videos are about love, infinity, and creation. Because positivity is about that. It's about love, creation, loving, thriving, being better, right? Being richer, being more prosperous, being much more abundant. It's all about that. It's about creating, because this is our nature. This is who we are. And how is it possible that we can antipodize? Because of the nature of our species, because we're an electromagnetic field, because we are the image of the creator, spherical energy ourselves. We're the biology of infinity ourselves. We are love ourselves. That's why we can love, because we are it, but the biological expression of it. And because of that, now we're conscious and self-aware enough to understand that everything that we do is antipodizable. That everything that we do can be antipodated. Everything that we do can be done antipodistically. So antipodatingly speaking, we are antipodizing everything that comes within our proximity once we become antipodists. Antipodizingly speaking, this is who we are. As a result of antipodistically forming concepts that allow us to understand the nature of infinity itself, which is infinite energy, infinite creation, infinite love, which is us ourselves. So this is the video. So as you can see, my videos tend to they light up with purple colors and these violet colors. Why? Because I'm one with infinity. Because I'm already evolved. And by having done that, then you see that light is infinite energy coming out of my force field, because I antipodize everything. Anyway, this is the video. Humanity, I'm Solar Ray, I'm a messenger. I love you all with all my heart, with all my mind. We're the Republic of Planet Earth. This is who we are. We're infinite eternal creators. I love you all with all my heart, with all my mind. Remember, we antipodize. So, everything is antipodatable. Everything is antipodizable. Everything gets antipodized and antipodated. Everything is antipodistic. Antipodating and antipodizing everything that there is and will always be. Antipodist or antipodist notions and ideas and concepts. Why? Because antipodization, or to antipodate, is to transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now. The positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. And everything that there is and will always be is infinity itself, eternity, and we are part of it. We are it. We are an active, conscious, self-aware agent, compass and a sundial. We stare at the sun, we open the portal, we build the bridge, we open our eyes, open our minds, open our hearts, open our lungs, open our eyes, open our minds, open our hearts, open our lungs, open the portal, build the bridge, and evolve to infinity. Because this is who we are as sundials. We stare at the sun and this is what we do. The infinite energy of the sun comes into our eyes and we evolve and reminds us of who we are as infinite eternal creators. The antipodization of our nature, the antipodization of everything that we are. All right? The antipodation and the antipodization. Right? Antipodistically speaking, this is who we are. We're infinite eternal creators. And we antipodize everything that we do. Everything. So I'm going to read it one more time and that will be the video. Antipodate, to transform negativity into positivity because of free will and purposeful daily action taken here and now. The positive metamorphosis of everything that there is and will always be. Verbs, antipodate, base verb. Antipodated, antipodating. I antipodate, you antipodate, he, she, them antipodates. We antipodate, they antipodate. Antipodize, meta verb. Antipodized, antipodizing. I antipodize, you antipodize, he, she, them antipodizes. We antipodize, they antipodize. Nouns, antipodation, antipodation, antipodations. Antipodization, antipodization, antipodizations. Antipodator, antipodator, antipodators. Antipodist or antipodist, either pronunciation is fine. Antipodist, antipodist, or antipodist, antipodist, or antipodist or antipodist, either. Adjectives, antipodated, antipodized, antipodistic, antipodable or antipodable, antipodizable or antipodizable, antipodizable, antipodating, antipodizing, antipodist. So there's many different nouns, ways to pronounce it. Why? Because it's a flexible word. It's an antipodating word, meaning it can be used in any way, any sound, because the fact that you're engaging with it with your thoughts and actions, you're already antipodating. You're already doing the action. So by doing that, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter how it sounds, because it doesn't have a right pronunciation. It's just a word that when used and engaged with actively and with intent, you're already in the state of transforming everything. Adverbs. Antipodistically, antipodatingly, antipodizingly. Articles. The and singular, the plural. So that's the video for today. It's called Antipodize because that's what we do. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might, humanity. My videos are about love, infinity, creation because we're a benevolent race. This is who we are, a benevolent species. Love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I'm so Ra Ray. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I love you all.